Hi, this is a presentation uh, for partners and dealers that want to become partners for Wave PTX. What I have is this are my contact details after this presentation. If you have any more technical questions for any commercial decisions like pricing, availability of products, etc., please, I request you to connect with our distributor or our Tier 1 partners. Wave PTX, as some of you may know, is a push-to-talk solution that works on cellular and Wi-Fi. The images that we have on the screen at the moment are three devices. Is the TLK, the most popular selling devices, the TLK 100. This is on the left-hand side. The TLK 150, which is a vehicle model or a desktop product called the TLK 150. And the other one is the Evolve device, which it can be used both for PTT and cellular calling. Right. So I'll move to the next slide now. Wave PTX. Motorola traditionally is known as a walkie-talkie company, right? That's the co-founder for the last 90 years. What we have done is, in a walkie-talkie, you need a license in India for the to keep the devices, called a dealer possession license. You need a license for the frequency itself, and you pay a fee to a department called Wireless Planning Commission. So you pay a fee for using that frequency band. And also the license that you get and the frequency band that you get is limited to the area that you can cover. You cannot cover a very large area. And if you need to cover a much larger area, you pay license fee accordingly, and also you'll have a repeater. I'm sure many of you who have sold a two-way radio know about these things. So I'll go on to the next slide. So if you look at one item that I've written out here, it's called push to X, not push to talk. X because our solution, the Wave PTX solution, uses uh, cellular, LTE cellular or Wi-Fi, and uses that instead of frequency, right? And because we use LTE, it can have a pan-India coverage. So I'll go on to the slides itself. These are the countries that we are operating in today in the Asia Pac region that falls under me. My contact details in the left-hand side corner. If you have any technical queries that you may have, like I mentioned, for any commercial or any delivery of products or stock, uh, for those items, you can contact our distributor or Tier 1 partners, right? So a quick brief. We have present today in the Asia Pac region in Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, of course, India, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, and Indonesia. We shortly plan to launch a few more countries in 2023. Okay, so I'll go on to the next slide now. So I'll go from top to down. So in a two-way radio, you typically use a group call where you call a group of people. So that is also available in this Wave PTX solution. The idea that we are planning, I'm showing this is, if I offer you or we offer you a solution, it should meet your existing or your end customers' requirements of what they are using today. If you would like to migrate them, right? And we'll go into the reasons and the benefits of migrating or expanding your existing two-way radios using Wave PTX, right? So we offer group call. A lot of solutions do not offer a one-to-one calling, but for privacy or other issues, you may want to, like the operations person may call security, head of security, right? So for that and other people, you might want to offer one-to-one calling, emergency call. As the name suggests, we have a specialized button where you press an emergency, and then the location and a group call or a one-to-one call is set up. This is pre-decided. So you might decide that if a person presses emergency, that call should go to head of security, head of operations, head of the plant, head of whatever. I mean, different people that you pre-decide, a group of people, so that they can receive a call. Or you might decide if the person presses emergency, it should only go to head of security. So whatever you set up, pre-decided, that call will have to go. Also, it can go to the dispatcher. We'll talk about what a dispatcher is. Dispatcher is nothing but a web-based tool tool where you have a login and password, and you can see and all your people on the map, right, on a Google map. We'll talk about that in more detail as we go along. We talked about emergency call, broadcast call. Typically in a factory environment, on some segments, you need, during an emergency, during a plant down, during a fire, that everyone does not panic and there's only one person in command and control. So you might have the head of operations, head of security, head of fire, one of these guys having the broadcast call. And when he person speaks on the broadcast call, anybody having a radio across all the talk groups, across all the channels, gets cut off, and the broadcast call is the predominant call, and everyone listens to are able to hear this person, whatever is said on that broadcast call. Priority call. Typically what happens is, when you have multiple people talking, you might want to give priority to a certain people, like head of operations, head of the plant, head of fire, whatever, I mean, head of security. So you might give him priority over regular other users, right? So that's what we have, priority call. Call alert. Typically what happens is, if you happen to be driving or busy, you may not receive, let's say if you had a cell phone, you might have missed the call, right? If there's a noisy environment. In a radio, we need instant communication, right? But even then, a person may be busy, may not be paying attention to his phone, to his radio device. So what you could do is, you can give a call alert. It'll keep alerting a person until he receives the call. The other person also, let's say, for example, if he had left his device at a place and walked out for a smoke, or went somewhere else, or he left his device while driving and he didn't pay attention. So it'll keep alerting him until he accepts call. User finder. Because of because of all the new devices have an inbuilt GPS, we have built features around using that GPS. So typically when you press a PTT, you ask a person, where are you, right? That's the first question that comes. So in this solution, you don't really, the supervisor doesn't really need to ask where the person is. He can just go on a display type screen. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you can actually see where the user is on the map, right? Of the map of Google Map on the screen. Dynamic group call. There may be a need that you want to talk to head of operations, head of sales, head of 2 or 3 different people. Dynamic, what you can do dynamically using a touch screen, you can create your own quick dynamic group call, bring all of them into one call and have a group call conversation. You may save that or you may delete it later on, right? Depending on what the need is. But typically dynamic group call is dynamically, as the name suggests, you bring everybody and you make a call. Geofencing. So geofencing, again, using the GPS, you can create a geofence on the map using the dispatcher, where you say that nobody should take this device outside the plant, right? So anyone taking outside, you should get an alert. Or you say a dangerous area within the plant, nobody should be entering unless a certain number of approved people. Anyone walking with our device into that area, you'll get an alert, right? Area-based group call. So what would happen is, let's say I'm traveling in the city, and on my way back, I come across an accident, right? What would happen is, I would press an emergency, tell people that I need help, and then what the supervisor could do, or the dispatcher could do, he could create an area geofence, a radius of, let's say, 500 meters, 1 kilometer, 5 kilometers, and anyone across the groups, across the channels, using our service, I mean, within your organization itself, can be put onto that special group, and whoever's in that area will be able to help that person, right? Custom messages. So because we are using packet data, send images, files, videos, all of that stuff to a user, right? So because we are using LTE, we can do live video streaming, right? So you can send images, pictures, videos, files to users across the group or to individual person. The web-based dispatcher. The web-based dispatcher, you have a login and password where you have a URL and you can type in that URL and you can set up your password, and then you can find your users on the map. What we also offer in the dispatcher, up to 20 talk groups or channels can be recorded for a month, right? So we'll go more about the dispatcher in detail as we go along that place. So you can monitor all your channels. You can see the people on the location of the map of your users using a dispatcher. You can record up to 20 talk groups, right, for a month. Now I'll go from top to down. So I talked about the PTT communication. So basically, what we're trying to do is offer all of the features that are relevant to push to talk. Some of them are new features that you may not have in your existing two-way radios, right? The next one is, so all the PTT calls are out here. Then the location base is using the GPS in the device, and hence you can find user finder, geofence, dynamic group call, area based group. These are all based off the location of the device. Real time presence. Typically, when you make a push to talk call to a person, right, or even on a cellular call, actually, you do not know if that person's available, not available, what happens, right? So in this feature of ours, because we are using packet data, I could keep myself busy if I'm in a meeting. But if I need to contact anybody on a push to talk call, I can call out. But after I'm free from the call, I can then make myself from busy to available. And then hence all calls can be heard by me. Anyone can be contacted me on a push to talk call. We talked about text messaging. So you can send text messages as data messages to an individual or to a group of people within your organization that have the Wave PTX application. You can send photos, videos, files. Let's say if I'm traveling and I cannot be contacted or reached, what you could do is someone could record a message, and then once I come into coverage area, that I could listen to the call and listen to the message that was left for me. I'd like to go to the next slide now. So this is the radio mode. This is what the device looks like, right? So in a radio mode, people who are used to a walkie-talkie type of solution, this is what it looks like. So if you see, it has, you can change the icons, you can change the names, you can do scanning, you can send text messages, you can share your location, you can send photographs or images, you can send a video recording, you can use a soft PTT. So soft PTT is using the PTT on the display itself. If you choose your devices from Motorola, or we can also program your lower volume key as your PTT button, because a regular phone, because this application can be used on Motorola provided devices and also Android or your iPhone. We'll come into the feature wise, why would I recommend using a Motorola phone? And just to give you a gist of it, three main reasons. A Motorola phone has a dedicated PTT button. It has a better battery, a better speaker. Okay, so we'll come into all of that as we go along. So this is the radio look and feel. This is a PTT radio mode. You also have a standard mode. So people who are used to a cell phone type image, so you can have missed calls, favorites, one-to-one calling numbers, the group calls. You can find your users on the map. Like I mentioned, you can use this on a standard Android or iPhone. The other thing that we have done separately, so I told you that we can make the push to talk, in settings, you can make your lower volume key as your PTT button. You could also, what we also have done is, the application can run in the background. So if you use any other application, right, you need to open up the app and then go into it. Out here, even in the lock screen mode of the application running in the background, using the volume key, you can PTT whoever you want to do, right? The next one. So PTT communication there's nothing faster than PTT, because it is typically aimed at people who need to talk in groups or one-to-one, who want instant communication. There's no call setup time. So when I call a cellular call, I might, if I try to call more than one people, or I try to do a WhatsApp call, everyone may not be available, right? Everyone will not, you don't know who's available, not available. Out here, with this, You can see presence, available, not available. You do group calls. You can do one-to-one call. You have a contact list. You can have favorites. You can use soft PTT. Soft PTT is on the display itself of the screen. Out here, you can press PTT out here, or you can have one of the device, your low volume key as your PTT button. I talked about. You can do background calling. That means if the app, your Wave PTX app is running in the background, yet you can make a PTT call. You have call alerts that I talked about. They can keep alerting you, missed calls. You can see history of whoever called you. You can do voice playback messages. I'll go to the next screen now. Integrated message. So you can, like I talked about earlier, you can send text, pictures, videos, audios, attachments, files. In case you're not in a coverage area or the person you're sending to is not in a coverage area, it will be stored, and when he comes into coverage area, get forwarded to. Location. So you can see a location of your people on the map, both on the web-based dispatcher, on the Chrome web-based dispatcher, or on your phone. The only thing is the phone should be a large screen size, and it supports Android, and you can see your users on the map. History, like we talked about, you can see call history of people you called, people who you missed their call, right? So what are the features that we're offering? So we as Motorola are supporting the solution. You'll have one-to-one calling, one-to-many, multiple groups we talked about, dynamic group call, broadcast, call alert, dispatch, and messaging. This is what the dispatcher looks like, where you have a web-based tool, like I mentioned, where you can record up to 20 talk groups. You can find your users on the map. You can send or receive images, files, and videos, right? So typically, you will have a dispatcher in a control room, and then you can, using the GPS, you can track, because you have a TLK 150 that is installed in a vehicle. If you have a TLK 100 or a evolved device that is controlled by your security or your team people on the field, you can track those people using this dispatcher of ours on the map, right? So in vehicle tracking, we offer both voice and GPS. So basically, if you take a vehicle tracker itself, you can only track the guy. But then if you know the vehicle is broken down or whatever, how do you contact the guy? Do you call him on a cell phone? If you call him on a cell phone, actually speaking, you're breaking the law, because the law says you cannot drive and talk, right? But push to talk is allowed by RTO, right? So we offer geotagging, live video streaming, depending on the device, of course, voice, dispatch control. We talked about you can record up to 20 talk groups. The key criteria is wherever you're recording this dispatcher, wherever you're installing this dispatcher, a laptop or a PC, that has to be on, and it will record all conversations up to 20 talk groups as part of this package for up to 30 days. If you need to record more than the 30 days, what you could do is you could download that recording before the 30th day, like say 25th day or whatever, and then it'll again record from that time onwards. We can do live video streaming, both push and pull. Push and pull means I could send a request and then you could accept it, or I could have in the feature whereby I can directly pull the video streaming. This comes very useful when a person wants to show his boss what he's doing on the field, if he has any issues, if he needs any support. All of that can be very useful for video streaming. So our solution works, I mentioned, on LT. So what we call it is telecom agnostic. What it means is I can use Vodafone, Jio, Airtel, any SIM. So I could use a combination. Let's say some people in my team use Vodafone, some use Jio, some use Airtel, and some could use office Wi-Fi. And yet they will all communicate, because we do not need frequency. What we are doing is using the backend packet data of your SIM card or your Wi-Fi to communicate, right? We can use on any device. So you can use on Motorola devices, or you can use on your standard Android or iPhone. Because we are using LTE, because we are using Wi-Fi, there is no restriction of the area that we can cover. We can cover all of India, right? So these are the devices that our solution works on. So the first few devices are for Motorola. So the first one is a TLK 100. It looks and feels like a walkie-talkie. It has the advantage of device. It has a better battery, a better speaker, more sensitive mic. Uh, it looks and feels like a walkie-talkie. It has a dedicated PTT button. You can put in a spare battery after the battery gets discharged, right? So these are the benefits of a TLK 100. The TLK 150 is a vehicle mounted, so it will have reverse voltage protection. It works from 24 volts to 12 volts if required. 12 volts. If you're using it on a car that has only 12 volts, you can connect it directly to this device. This offers one-to-one calling, one-to-many calling, all of those features. So the TLK 100 is more for people on the move, that is person using it. TLK 150 is used for vehicle mounted, or if you wanted to use it as a fixed station. So you connect a 230 volts to 12 volts uh, supply. You get power supplies. Our partners can help you with that, and it will convert, and you can use it as a desktop for your security or operations. Different departments can use this as a fixed unit. The TLK 100 and the TLK 150 comes with a 2-year warranty. The next one is I'll talk about is the Evolve device. So this Evolve device, as you see, it has a dedicated push to talk button. It can be used both for PTT and cellular. It is a recommended device for your senior management, right? So what will happen is they can see their users on the map, right? They can make PTT calls, they can make cellular calls all on one device, right? It has a very good battery life in it. Uh, there's another device that we have is RG360. This is a third-party device, but the advantage of this device is small, it's cute. It has an dedicated emergency button. Same, if you see, the TLK 150 has an emergency button. The RG360, we can make the menu button emergency. The Evolve has an emergency button. This RG360 also has an emergency button. You can make cellular calls from it, and also push to talk calls, right? So, and it works on both, like all of these devices of ours, all these 4 work on Wi-Fi and cellular. Like I mentioned, you can also use our app, and you can download it from the Play Store, and you need to put in a code for it to work. What will happen is you can use it for your Android or iPhone. You can use it on your Android iPhone. Uh, we also talked about the dispatcher, the web-based tool dispatcher. So these are the different modes of communicating or products that can be used for using to use Wave PTX. Right? Now, let's say if you have legacy devices, so the customer may have an older two-way radio. So how do I connect my older two-way radio to this? Because the two-way radio had limited coverage. There is sometimes difficulty in receiving or availability of batteries, chargers of the older products, right? So what we have is a solution, and you can work through our partners, whereby you can connect your older two-way radio to the Wave PTX application. So you will continue to pay the WPC DOT fees on the two-way radios, but any device or the number of devices you have on using Wave PTX, those itself you do not pay WPC charges. And with that, because we are using LTE, like I mentioned, we'll have a pan-India coverage. In our solution, we support up to 90 plus channels. Okay, so you can have a dedicated channel for operations, a dedicated channel for safety, a dedicated channel for security, one for maintenance, one for head office, or you can have this stock groups in a plant, or you can have different cities, for example. So you can replace, to come to think of it, you could say I could have one team in Agra, one in Delhi, one in Mumbai, one in Kolkata, one in Chennai, and each of them having their own groups talking to each other. And if required, they can have a pan-India group call, right? So across India, everyone can talk and listen, right? A very good feature for large manufacturing or sales organization. So we talked about it. Our solution is telecom agnostic. So you can use Airtel, Jio, Vodafone, LTE SIM cards. You can use a combination. So I could say that I have a better coverage of Airtel in Delhi. I may have a better coverage of Vodafone in Mumbai, and in other parts of my organization, wherever my departments or my factories are, I have Jio as a better coverage. So you can use, and in some places like head office, I have my own Wi-Fi in my building. So I could use all of these combinations, and they can talk to each other because we are only using the packet data of each of these providers. We do not need anything. We need the packet data of it. Okay. So we talked about that we offer a pan-India coverage. Now, if I'm talking about using an open SIM card, a voice or data SIM card, what about security? So our solution comes with AES-256. So this is an encryption standard. Because Motorola is a US company, we also have to meet US regulation, and we offer FIPS 142, right? Also, we are SOX compliant. Our software, from a security point of view, meets ISO 27001 regulation. Our devices itself meet ISO 9000. The devices that we provide from Motorola, all of them are manufactured in Malaysia, and the software itself that we provide and the firmware, all of that is developed out of our development center in Bangalore. So we talked about the encryption, right? So the solution that you will get from us will have AES-256, will have FIPS 140, and will also have the latest encryption called MACI-SACI. So you will get all three as part of our solution, right? Not many other solutions can boast or provide this security that we are talking about. So this is what it looks like. So encryption is done at the device. It's encrypted as a server. Between the SIM card which uses a pipe, all of these encryptions work. So there's no way a person can hack your data, download the data, no way, right? So we also do whitelisting of SIM cards through our partners. When if you are interested, we can work and tell you how to. So that means what is whitelisting is basically you're creating a private APN, which we have worked with Airtel, Vodafone, and Jio, and you can encrypt and make sure that that SIM card is then only used for our service, and the SIM card cannot be used for any other service. But otherwise, you can just use a regular voice SIM also, and the data on that also is encrypted because it's encrypted at the server level, encrypted at the device level. So this is what comes in the box. So when you buy a TLK100, it comes with the device itself. It'll come with the antenna, LT antenna. It comes with a belt clip. It has the battery door, charger, and battery. What doesn't come with this is, of course, the SIM card. And my recommendation is that as an organization, customers should choose and buy their own SIM, because you know best which is the plan that works for you, what is the coverage in different locations. It might happen that in head office, Vodafone works best. In other parts, Airtel works, and in other parts, Jio. Or you might say that I want to use one of these service providers because across the country. So that's totally up to you, right? So you have flexibility of choosing the plan, and so I would recommend that you get the SIM card yourself. The TLK150. So it comes with the radio itself. It comes with the Pamphis microphone. It comes with the GPS antenna. It comes with the LT antenna. It comes with a power cable that will connect to your battery of your vehicle. That will convert 12 or 24 volts of the vehicle to power to 12 volts, because this will work from 24 to 12 volts, and it also supports reverse voltage correction. So in case you put the cable reverse, it will not damage the device itself. Like I mentioned earlier, the TLK100 and the TLK150 comes with a 2-year warranty. So most of our updates happen over the air. Because we are using LTE SIM card, we can update devices over the air. But if the device goes faulty and if there's any factory fault, you can send it to our research center, our repair center in Bangalore, and it will get repaired and sent back to you. Let's talk about this TLK100. It's the best, fastest selling product of ours. Almost 90% plus of our customers that use our devices choose this device. The reason being, it has a very high output speaker. It has a very sensitive microphone. It has a LED. So normally if you use a GSM phone, if by mistake we drop it and it falls and cracks the screen, almost 50% of the cost of the device is the screen itself, right? So out here, because there is no real screen, it's an LED type flush display. So it's a very versatile and easy to use product, right? We talked about the battery and other stuff. It has a dedicated push to talk button. You have a contact list up to 300 contacts. It has won many design awards. So it's won the IF Design Award, the Red Dot Design Award from Singapore. It won the Good Design Award in Europe. So it's a very uh, great product, I would say, right? Uh, the device itself, if you look out here, it has a channel knob. You can go up to 90 plus channels. It has a power supply. It has a inbuilt GPS. It works on Wi-Fi. It works on LTE. So typically, you could say, I want to use Wi-Fi in office, and when I move out, it should work on LTE. We can do all of that. It has a dedicated push-to-talk button. So what are the so you talked about, right? So TLK works on Wi-Fi and cellular. What are the different accessories that customers typically buy with it? So there's a wide variety of accessories available, but these are the four key ones that are the fastest selling, and that's the reason why customers choose it. Like if you want to make it hands-free, you can use a palm fist microphone and it will connect to the TLK 100. You can also use the headset, these two headsets that are shown. And if you want to store, if you use 24/7 operations, you might want to buy a single unit. That's a single unit charger. That means you can have it upright, and you can also charge the battery on this separately outside. Like you can have one device battery in the week, in the TLK 100 and use it, and you can buy a separate spare battery and charge it. So you can actually use our device for a 24/7 operation. If you have a larger organization, you might want to buy a multi-unit charger. But this is what the device looks. So it has a dedicated PT button, like I talked about. It has a power button, the volume up and down key, the menu button, and you have a channel knob. So you can go up to 96 channels. Uh, the Evolve. The Evolve is a high capacity, it's a large screen uh, device. It has a volume knob. It has a channel knob out here. If you see, it has a dedicated emergency button. It has a PTT button, right? So this is typically you want to use by a supervisor. In the Evolve, you get both IS and non-IS. So IS is used normally in oil and gas segment, chemicals, right? Uh, these are the accessories available with the Evolve. You can buy a spare battery. You can buy a multi-unit charger. So you want to charge multiple units at one time. You want to use a palm fist microphone. You want to use a Bluetooth palm fist. So all of that, a belt clip extra in case. But normally you will get a belt clip with the device itself. Our solution is developed out of Bangalore. So we are very proud to say that globally, Motorola does not have any other development centers for Wave PTX except in Bangalore. So we have around 600 people plus, 600 to 700 people working out of Bangalore, and our solution is actually made in India. The firmware is actually, a lot of it is actually made in India. So it's Atmanirbhar product. We're proud of the product and we're selling it globally, right? The development team that develops this product in Bangalore is actually exported globally. So quickly wrapping up and telling you what are the features we offer. So like I mentioned earlier, the software is made in India. The product itself, the devices that we provide is resilient and rugged. The TLK 100, TLK 150 comes with a 2-year warranty. The Evolve comes with a 3-year warranty. We have about 600 to 700 people developing the solution in Bangalore. We have a repair center in Bangalore. So if a device goes faulty, we can, during the warranty period, we can help you with that. Most upgrades happening over the air, but if there's a need for it to be shipped, you can ship it to Bangalore. We'll have it repaired and send it back to you for any factory faults. We offer, because we understand our customers work 24/7. So through our partners, so if you have any issue, you'll call our partner or our distributor, and then if they cannot help you resolve it, then they will pass on your complaint to us and we will help it. So we provide a 24/7 support in English through our partners to you. We support, like you mentioned, Wi-Fi and cellular. There's no WPC fee to be paid for Wave PTX application because we're not using frequency, we're using data. We offer a pan-India coverage. It's easy to use and manage. And the device actually is built for the job, right? It's really, if you look at the device in your hand, it's rugged, it has all the two-way radio features, it has the latest LTE in it, it offers the pan-India coverage. So it's the right product for the market. You can do also recording, and so you have, let's say, somebody in the plant that is monitoring all the users in the plant. You could have you can have somebody in head office also listening in or recording all conversations, or some supervisor that like you want to provide, so make sure that something is happening in the plant and the head office needs to know the production or needs to talk to people directly. So they could have a device in the head office, or they could install a dispatcher and make all dispatch calls from head office to the different uh, even factories and plants, depending on how you we work with you to program those devices. Uh, so a lot of customers want to build solutions over and above what we have, right? So if you have a good, strong IT team, you can work with us. We have APIs, and you can develop solutions using our APIs. So we can discuss that in detail through our partner if you have a need. We have a different packages for that depending on what features you need. We offer you a 40. You can take an option of a sandbox environment. You can test the application that you do. You can offer you a 40-hour session of support, so you can we help you if you have any difficulties using our APIs while developing the product. So some quick comparison, right, between intercom, two-way radios, and Wave PTX, right? So if you see, Wave PTX offers one-to-one calling, not necessarily for two-way radio. You can move around with the device, but you cannot move with the intercom, but you can move with a two-way radio and a Wave PTX. You can use on Wi-Fi, so that's the only Wave PTX can be used on Wi-Fi. You have multiple talk groups. You may have it in two-way, but that thing depending on the number of frequencies you have. But in Wave PTX, we have about 96 plus 96 talk groups that can be offered, 90 plus talk groups, right? Instantaneous call, both two-way radio and Wave offer it. Dynamic group call, again, not available on a two-way radio, but available on Wave PTX. Broadcasting call, not available on a two-way radio, available on a Wave PTX. Dispatcher, not available on a two-way radio, mostly. There are some solutions that now have some kind of a dispatcher if you have a GPS in that radio as an add-on. But definitely available in a Wave PTX. So a lot of reasons for customers to migrate or to move directly into Wave PTX rather than going for a two-way radio. A lot of customers say, hey, how do I compare the solution between both? Because some of these features I saw, it's available on WhatsApp, right? Why would I choose WhatsApp? Why would I pay use to pay Wave PTX when I can use things on WhatsApp? So let's look at a quick comparison of the difference between the two, right? So both can be used on iPhone and Android. Both are able to send images, text, video, and video, text, images, and video. Both can send files, encrypted files between users, because they too mention that WhatsApp is encrypted. But the difference between WhatsApp and Wave PTX, I can tell you, is that WhatsApp, if I receive a message, I could send it on to anybody, and I could be confidential information going to the wrong person. Whereas Wave, all communication, all images, all videos, all happen within the group of people that you within your organization that have the Wave PTX solution. The number of people in the group. So this is a constant change. You can go up to 256 or whatever number that you can do on WhatsApp, but in Wave you can go up to 3,000 users. So if you have a large organization, you may want to consider that. So we typically offer 250 users in a talk group, but if there's a need, for real need, we can look at how to expand that large talk. We call it large talk group size. You can actually track uh, remotely all the users, record all conversation, which may not necessarily available on WhatsApp, right? The account manager can decide and delete and make sure whatever talk groups you have channels. But in WhatsApp, you can send message to anybody unless that person has blocked you. The advantages of using Wave PTX, right? Motorola Advanced, basically. We are able to support up to 1,000 calls plus in broadcast. We can go up to 3,000. Ability to support up to 5,000 users in an account. It's a scalable product, right? We're offering new features like emergency, broadcast, dynamic group call. You can interop with third-party two-way radios. We can discuss that in detail. We are offering encrypted solution that has AS256, FIPS 140, Makisaki, like I talked about. We are able to use both a regular voice SIM or whitelisted SIMs. We can talk about that in detail if you have any queries on that. Our solution is geo-redundant, and we have been used by large organizations. Now, the solution that you're buying, it should be future-proof, right? So the solution that we are offering is tested. It is BIS approved. It has been tried. It has been approved and tested by the likes of Lloyd Register, Lycra. It's ISO 2700 solution. It's SOC 2 compliant. The hardware itself, like I mentioned, is ISO 9000 compliant. Uh, Key benefits: no WPC charge to be paid. There's no maintenance of infrastructure at your end. We maintain all of the infrastructure. We offer 2-year warranty on the device and actually 1-year warranty on accessories. Uh, we have a support center in Bangalore. Uh, if anything goes faulty, we have a quick short turnaround time in deploying the solution. We have new features, like I talked about, of emergency broadcast and GPS. And our solution is highly reliable and it's made in India. That's a key factor. Thank you for your time. If you have any queries that you have on the solution, or you need more detailed discussions on any queries, please reach out through our partners, and we would happy to get on a call with our partner and you and answer any of your queries that you may have. Thank you.